Welcome back, everyone, and thanks for being here. Queen Homeschool is one of my favorite homeschool curriculum companies. They've been around for about 30 years, and Dr. Sandy Queen is a very precious woman. She is a great author, and she's a great public speaker. And I have had the privilege of being able to hear her speak on adversity, and she has an amazing testimony about how her son, Jeremiah, has been a cancer survivor. It's also propelled her into becoming more health conscious and becoming a naturopathic doctor. And she has also written a health course, two in particular. One is geared more towards older students and even parents who have taken the course, like I have, as I taught with my kids this course. And they are amazing. And if you are interested in, you know, seeing mainstream medicine and holistic medicine kind of come together, knowing a bit of the differences, knowing how to care for one's body, and even learning things like kombucha and water kefir and eating right and all the normal things you learn about with vitamins and minerals and good soluble fats and stuff. It's an awesome course. And the one I am particularly talking about is every herb bearing seed and made in his own and made in his image. I would recommend doing made in his image first and then do every herb bearing seed. It's also from a biblical worldview. She is also a 6 day creationist affirming company. And these books are awesome. You start on Monday with like a story, and you kind of read through them. There's a couple of activities that you do, and then you get your student is writing stuff out. These are consumable books, so you would want one per student. It's like a notebooking style of learning health and stuff. They talk about tobacco, alcohol, the effects on the body, and the actual content in it is done in a story style, so you do learn some of the natural vocabulary, but it's interwoven into a story living engaging kind of book way. And most of it is in black and white, but that's where you do save on the course, because I think each course is about $40, maybe even less. And it's very doable each single day. And let's say you miss a day, the wonderful thing about all of Queen Homeschool curriculum is that it was made from her mom, who a lot of this curriculum was being produced in the middle of her dealing with chemotherapy treatments and going to doctor visits while still managing the other 5 kids and taking care of herself and fueling her son with the right proper vitamins and nutrition, and getting the household filled with, highly nutritious food and a greener lifestyle. And you can read all about that in a pretty thick book on Jeremiah and her testimony and that whole road to recovery. He is extremely healthy and doing well, and I believe just recently got married. So it's an awesome testimony and how to homeschool through adversity. And that is really where the language lessons for English was birth out of that time. And that was actually one of the breakthroughs for our homeschool. I tried to do learning language arts through literature, and it was a lot. And I had a lot of young ones at the time. And in fact, I was still nursing my youngest. And so when I got it, I got kind of overwhelmed. I kept all the living books from that set, but I got to speak on the phone after spending a lot of time on the website with Sandy Queen herself. And it is amazing. It has copywork, it has dictation, it has color picture study in there. And you're asked certain questions about the picture study. And then from there, your kids get to write a creative story from there. And it has made all of my kids writer without the stress. They actually enjoy creating stories based on these pictures. And one of the interesting things is like when they get into the high school age, there's one where they're even asked to study Paul on the road of Damascus, and then they get to tell their testimony. And there's one completely for grammar, like a complete grammar review. They are not a kill and drill grammar approach to it. Some of the lessons are extremely short that could take 5 minutes, and some that can take up to 20 to 30. Of course, as you grow with the levels, the more writing and the more dictation that is involved in copy work. And there's one that's specific to creative writing. I believe two of the high school courses my kids did at the same time. And ironically, one of them on the cover is Sandy Queen's daughter and what would be her future husband. And so these two right here, language lessons for the secondary child, volume 2, and the language lessons for a high school student, grammar review, and more. That one is more like they go in and learn how to edit stuff that's already there, and the basic grammar review, which is good to take at the beginning, or it's even recommended that you take at the very end. There's always samples on the site. And I believe this one also does still have picture study. And a lot of people don't understand what picture study can actually do. But when you study a picture and become more observant, that follows, that skill goes through over in life, and then you get to write about it, and it slowly grows more and more. And so I've always enjoyed it. Not all picture studies are something to do with the Bible. There's some that are just old art, but they are Christian homeschool companies, so you can expect that. They are, I would say, they also have a statement of faith or what we believe on their website, but I can pretty much say that they are like very conservative, 6 Day Young Earth, Protestant, and I think Baptist curriculum company. And but don't quote me for sure. I have done from the very young language lessons all the way through. I have 6 kids, so I've got to use multiple levels for multiple years. There's a whole section on their website of like, why do copy work? Why does copy work matter? How do I teach my kids history or science? And the question that I get often is, can I do the science and the history together? Everyone all together, and you can. I just recommend, and I think per their design, they want every student to have their own book to write in, and it does end up being like a journal. And like the health one, particularly the one for made for the higher grades, you want to keep those. The language lessons, a lot of questions I get is, can they be used alone? And I have used them alone, but mind you, my kids have also not only used the language lessons alone, they also are writing narrations and researching for science, for history, and they're being assigned living books for a part of their literature. And you can get some living books from Sandy Queen, or you can get them from other curriculum companies like a recommended list and pair it, or just come up with your own list. One of the things that I think is one of Sandy Queen's strength outside of the health, and before I move on to that, I will say that she also has come up with her own essential oils brand, and she does even sell them in office as a practitioner. But she has stuff about the homesteading life, books about practical wisdom and tools for and habits that kids should have, whether it's sleep or saving money, all of those. And they have like a pig in front of them. And those are all just practical advice, speaking in public, all of those. And those are all really fun. Another fun one is our kids loved Question of the Day series, and you just learn fun, full facts about stuff. We actually did that one together as a family, and chose not to do it as like a consumable, but just read the question, and then we would look up the answers all together. And that's how we did it. It is fun as a great independent work for your kids to do. And um, all of them will have questions like, I think we heard about like the difference between, or how an Oreo is made, and um, they're just all different kinds of questions that you would not really, like kids are constantly thinking about, but why is the sky blue? And then going and spending time deep within it. And it's a range of history questions. It's a range of science questions, basic questions. I think there was one about the president. We really enjoyed the series. We did it on Fun Fridays, and it was fun. We did that and Shakespeare on Fridays, and it was really fun. Um, Another thing is their character building books or their Bible studies. They are awesome. I don't think that many people can say that they've used all of their Bible studies. I think we've done all but two. And my daughter, who's the oldest, has done all of them, including the Purity one. And I will say, Sandy Queen and Queen Homeschool in general use the KJV version of the Bible, and you can use your own version as you do it, but there's one called An Excellent Spirit on the book of Daniel. Amazing, especially for young men. There's one on spiritual leadership. That one you will want to have some guided conversations with. I think the content in it is very good. I could see why some people might find it controversial, some of the things that she said, but we just dialogued back and forth, and it was really good. I mean, some people are pro courtship, other people are pro dating, but you have your family standard. This book is just really good about what, and it points back to the scripture, and it's very doable each day. So my kids were assigned it independently for each day, and then we went back and talked and discussed about it. It will have questions on there, especially the leadership one for the young men. At the very end, it will talk about like how to choose a church and what to look for, and if not, you do the youth group, and just being pure and leading your family in devotions, and getting them in that right mindset of the longevity of what it really means to be prepared to be a man. I will say that their essential oils are fantastic. I have done doTERRA, I've done Young Living, and I prefer to use Dr. Sandy Queen's essential oils. They are excellent smelling. They last, they work, they're effective, they're clean, they're organic. And she has a whole thing on her website on how they test. And the thing I love is the variety. I think it's one of the few places that we can get myrrh, and a frankincense pretty affordable. And you could also use these essential oils with her health curriculum. And there's a book that comes with it that talks about how these oils were used in the Bible. And that's really cool. And it kind of brings that to life. And another one is, I never knew that peppermint oil was detested by rodents. And that has been very, very helpful. So there's recipes in one of the books called Essentially Clean, I believe, or how to use the single oils, and beauty kind of stuff, and making cleaners. So you do get those aids with those very affordable books, in addition to you wanting to buy affordable, high quality oils that I highly recommend. They're much more easier to replace when you're not dealing with a multi-marketed like pyramid thing. And shipping is pretty quick. I'm on the East Coast as well, in the South, and she is in Pennsylvania. And so shipping takes a couple days, and it's great during, when you're trying to just get your oils. And then, of course, during the school year. Another thing that we have really enjoyed is that this course called, I think, The Rocks Cry Out. Yes, it's in black and white, but the content in there is really good. You learn about the water cycle and stuff like that, but you also learn how to make homemade kombucha, which was really fun, and my kids really enjoyed that. But that has not been their favorite science. I think their favorite one today is still the health course. They absolutely love that. They love that it only took us 15 to 20 minutes a day, and its depth in a short period of time. It literally is the Charlotte Mason education, like in full bloom. They do have pictures in cursive. All of my kids, well, I would say actually three so far of my kids out of six have done their handwriting, and their handwriting, I believe, is award winning. And it is, you stare at a picture, you look at the beautiful picture, and then you do the cursive. And it is a really good course, and it's simple. It will not last you a whole school year. You probably need two books to do that per school year, but it gets straight to the point. It goes in alphabetical order based on the level. They do have print as well, but it's just kind of fun to look at the pictures and go ahead and write them out. It's just simplistic. My favorite curriculum from them is also their vocabulary. That is fun and easy to do as a whole family. You stare at a picture, you learn the words, there's sentences for the words, and we did that like right in our morning time because it was so doable. Like we would do our Bible study, apologetics, and scripture memory, and then roll into our group subjects. And we would usually start with vocabulary. This has actually been my kids' favorite way to learn vocabulary outside of just reading good, loving, living books. But they have a few in the series. I think her daughter is the one that does. I think there's five in all, and they're very affordable, and you can just go through them. You can do one in one semester and then one the next, or you can just spend a whole year really doing one book. But they are they're just a fun and easy way where you can discuss really quickly, like, and use them in a sentence and then review and then move on to the next one. So I enjoyed teaching vocabulary in that way, and I think my kids enjoyed it better than being bogged down um, by some other books and choices out there. And I mean, there's just so much. I will say my favorite course for government, it does come from Queen Homeschool. Queen Homeschool's government is covering everything that you want to be covered in a living, engaging kind of way. And they do cover things like Roe versus Wade, and it goes through to Donald Trump. So it's pretty updated. It's about maybe 4 or 5 years out on the market, maybe six. And it's my two older kids. Well, actually, my three older kids have done it. There's vocabulary in it. There's, again, a living way, an engaging way of bringing out the choices or the subject. And then you will do some research and answer some pretty thoughtful, critical thinking on the subject, questions on there. And each day it's broken up. You literally open the book, there's a lesson, there's the day, and you just go digging deeper. And then there is a timeline with all of their history and including their government, that you will put together in a binder and with sheet protectors and have it go in order so they can also get that visual with it. So I do and have enjoyed that. The nature study journals that they have are also very fun. And there's one like a backyard, I think it's like a backyard nature study one. So if you're new to nature study, if you have younger kids, or if you're just like breaking into it, that also is a very, very good one. If you want to use them for all of your subjects and streamline your decision, they do have a Charlotte Mason, basically Queen Homeschool box per grade, and you just buy the box and it covers everything but math. I do believe that they recommend Life with Fred for math. We do something completely different for math, so we've never paid into that. But you know, it's pretty affordable to get all of your subjects, and you just pick the grade and you just go with it, and it does not take forever to homeschool with Queen Homeschool, and you get the information that you need, and it piles up. Even though it seems like it's not enough, you got to remember the Charlotte Mason base education is not the kill and drill format. So you have to really believe in the philosophy of the Charlotte Mason education in order to feel comfortable purchasing from Sandy Queen and being thoroughly satisfied. If you are wanting to explore Charlotte Mason education, just starting out with the Charlotte Mason education, I highly recommend Queen Homeschool because it will simplify things for you. It's a homeschooler made by homeschoolers. They know what to deal with life and how life gets hard. It's easy to catch up on every single subject, whether they're doing it independently or you together as a family. I will say another cool thing about Queen Homeschool is the geography. In their geography, you study one particular region, and then you always get a um, missionary that goes with it. And if you wanted to add a biography with that missionary and go even deeper, then you get that ability. And it feels much more like scrapbooking and notebooking when you're doing their geography. So I really do like their geography because it's a great independent course, and it's a great way to like bridge that, and they also get to learn more. Um, so they do sell the original um, Charlotte Mason taught herself about geography that has been revised by them. But the another thing that I really love is the we used it for critical thinking for independent work, and it was Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God and Spurgeon's The Great Change. There are two sermons by two famous pastors. And these books here, you open them up, they're very journal style. You get a portion of their sermon and then a critical thinking question that really probes the heart. And you have to sit there and write it out. And you get to discuss and have good discussions with your kids about it. I really love that our kids can have access to two very big, historic, famous sermons and have to think critically. A lot of people want their kids to think critically and take logic courses when there's definitely a place for that. But oftentimes the Bible or reading a great sermon like this and then going back and reflecting it is overlooked. But the Bible has all the wisdom we need, and it's very thorough for teaching someone like how to think and what to think, what basically the Lord is commands of us, and it has discussions, so you're learning and you're growing and learning how to think rightly, as what the purpose of logic and reason is. But these Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God journal and The Great Change are great ways to like warm your kids up in like 7th and 8th grade before maybe taking logic in 9th and 10th, so or beyond. There are as you can see, a ton of different resources on here. There's parenting resources, a book that teaches your kids how to research and write on their own, how to use a dictionary, and all of these things. But I would really recommend, we started off with the language lessons. At the time, there was some things that were not on the market, and this was on the market, and it was a Charlotte Mason base, and it was just so much easier to just read living books and do their language lessons because it covered everything it needed to cover without killing it. It teaches subject and predicate, it teaches all the parts of speech, but it does it in a way where it doesn't exasperate the child, and knowing that you're going to get bits and bits and bits of it until you get to the grammar review one where you're literally just having to check like an editor in that book, which at that point you should be able to master. And you're always put in front of good literature because a lot of the copy work and the dictation can either be clips of speeches from famous people like Thomas Jefferson or Winston Churchill, or it's like a proverb or taken from another type of literature. So I think you would be very blessed to check out Sandy Queen and their homeschool resources and curriculum. There was a lot to be said on here. I don't know if I really covered it all. And my husband's been really gracious to try to get it all visually for everyone on the website, but spend some time on the website, prayerfully consider them. And even if you want just some great essential oils and ways to use them, there's resources for that. And I hope that this has been a blessing to you. I know there's not much out there about Sandy Queen and the entire like curriculum, but it is a great company. There's never been issues with customer service or products, and we've not, there's some things that we love more than others. My daughter probably loved the Bible studies more than language lessons. I have a couple of kids who love like hit the health be their favorite, or I called it critical thinking, but the sermons and um I think it was the sermons and the government course was their favorite, because we've tried some government courses and this was the one that just stuck, and became a pleasure to do. They also have a few games, like we usually play the state game, and that's fun if you're doing the US geography. And they also have uh, cards on manners. So if you're looking to create manners, especially table manners, that's also on the website. It's just a well-rounded sense of resources for about 30 years that they've been out producing stuff and continuing to produce stuff. So I would highly recommend you check them out. And thank you for spending time with me today. I hope that this has been a blessing, and may God's peace be with you until next time.